The Consulting Success podcast is powered by the Clarity Coaching Program. If you'd like to work directly with the Consulting Success team and receive personal coaching and support to optimize and grow your consulting business, marketing, and revenue, visit consultingsuccess.com to find out more and apply.
Welcome to the Consulting Success Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Zapersky. In this podcast, we'll dive deep into the world of elite consultants, where you'll learn the strategies, tactics, and mindset to grow a highly profitable and successful consulting business.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Consulting Success Podcast. This is a special podcast today because we have my cousin, the one and only, Sam Zapersky, co-founder here at Consulting Success. Great to have you on, Sam.
Hey everybody. Really happy to be here.
Yeah, so we were chatting about this, and it's a special episode today, officially episode 200. You might look at that and say, well, that's not correct, Michael, because this is showing up on iTunes or whatever platform you're on, and it's actually well above 200 at this point. And that's because we don't count some of the bonus episodes that we put out as official episodes, but this is going to be official episode 200. So first of all, a big thank you to all of you who are listening and sharing. And if you've given a rating and review on iTunes for the podcast, really, really appreciate that. It does mean a lot. The way these platforms work is the more comments, the more ratings, the reviews that we get, the more that they will share it in the algorithm, the more people will see it. Not only does that make us happy, but it also just spreads the word and allows us to add a value and make a greater impact on more consultants around the world and in the community here. So just a big thank you to all of you, our listeners. With that being said, today we're going to be talking about a very special topic around values. And Sam and I are going to be going through and sharing our experience of developing our own values, some of the maybe issues or challenges or mindset that people have when it comes to values. And, do you need values if you're just a solo consultant, or at what size do values become important? So we're just going to go through and kind of talk about our progression and thinking around this, how this all kind of got started. But yeah, Sam, how does that sound to you?
No, it sounds great. I mean, it's something that's been on our mind for a long time. And now we're in the last, 2 months, maybe, we've really been working more and more on values and getting them out into the community, into the world, getting them out for you guys so you know us way better, so our team knows us way better, so our clients know us way better, and even ourselves know us and how we operate within our business way better. So yeah, what we've come up with is really exciting for us, and we think it'll benefit and give you value as well as we share our process, because as Mike just said, you can definitely apply this to yourself, whether you're a solo consultant or whether you're a full team of consultants and you're a founder that's listening to this, right? And you want to get more in line with your team, with your clients, with how you and your founders or you and your key people run the business. So yeah, it's really exciting, and we're going to dive in today and have some fun with you guys.
Yeah. And so before we kind of get into the process here, let's just kind of explain what values are, why they're so important, and why we even decide to kind of make the investment of time and resources and developing this and then sharing with our team. And we'll also talk about how we're planning to use our values, because this is not something that you just create and kind of, file away. This is something that you actively want to actually bring into your business, because that's where the real benefits come from. So just to begin, what are values? And this is not going to be the Webster definition of values, because quite frankly, I haven't checked what the Webster definition of values is. But for us, this is what we believe, right? It's how we operate. It's the kind of the core of what is important to us, what we then use to make decisions. And I don't know, Sam, what else would you add to that in terms of how do you think about values and what they are to the business, without actually getting into the specific values just yet?
Yeah, no, for sure. We'll get to the values in a bit. But the way I see it really in terms of values is it's a set of principles. We did a podcast a couple of years ago on our guiding principles. So it's related to that in many ways. And I'm sure some of you have heard that, or you can go find it. It's a classic episode that Mike and I did together. But really, values is the way we see our business, the way we see our life, the way we see how things should be. It's the way I look at it is the values are an extension of really Michael and myself and kind of what we've originally created here. But then it goes way beyond that to affect everyone around us, from family to clients to team. And we'll explain about this. But really, values is just your guiding principles to how you see things should be run, to how life should be lived, et cetera, et cetera. And like I said, we'll get into the examples, but values is a guiding set of principles. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. And in terms of why you might want to do this, there's a lot of benefits that come with developing your values. But just to begin with, if you're not clear on what your values are, it's going to be very hard for you to, number one, take on the right kind of clients, because when you understand what your values are, you can start to see whether the clients that are coming into your world have those same values, share those same values. And if you haven't actually defined what your values are, you might start to see that you're taking on all kinds of work with all different types of clients that don't share the same set of values. And therefore, you're not really enjoying the process of working with them. Likewise, what we've also seen is that by developing our values, and before we even developed the formal values that we're going to share with you all here today, several years ago, we developed a little mini documentary that gives you a kind of a glimpse into how Sam and I started the business, our families. So, our parents, our grandparents, kind of where we came from, what our journey was like to build Consulting Success into what it is today. You can go to consultingsuccess.com, click on the story or our story link there in the top of the site and watch that video. But around that time, when we started working with a mentor of ours to really start to figure out how to communicate and tell our story, that's where we start to actually see the benefits of communicating our values, of sharing our values. To that point, we weren't very actively sharing what we believed in, what our values were. We just didn't really think to do that. And what we've actually noticed in our business is that as we started becoming much more proactive and intentional with sharing our values, we started to attract a lot more of the right types of clients into our community, into our world. And if you think about that just for a moment, it makes a lot of sense, right? If you put out what your values are, if you put out into the world what you believe in, there will be some people who look at that and they're turned off by it. It doesn't resonate with them, and therefore they're not going to engage with you. But that's okay, because they're not the kind of people that you would really want to build business with or engage with, because they don't share the same values and beliefs. But those who share the same values and beliefs, they will look at that and go, wow, here's an organization, a brand, a person, a group of people who have the same values that I have. I feel that resonates with me. It connects with me. And now they're much more likely to actually want to engage with you. So it will repel the wrong people while attracting the right people. Sam, anything else you want to add to that as well?
Yeah, no. Those are all great points. I mean, the only other things I want to add is also when it comes to team building, if you are hiring a team or bringing internal staff to help build your mission, values are great because it gets your team excited. Yeah, it really aligns the team, as I mentioned, I think earlier in this podcast today. And then the other thing that I've been thinking about lately is, as an owner or as a co-founder, I think even for us, it gives us almost more freedom to operate the way we are, because we're living by our values within this company, within this brand. We're being more natural to our clients, to our team, to ourselves. I don't know. It's a feeling that gives a lot of freedom once you spend time really understanding what the company or brand values are. And also, I would even highly recommend you do this for yourself and make sure you're living in line with your own values throughout your life. So that can be another whole interesting thing. And I think there'll be definite connections between your company values and your values if you're doing this properly. So yeah, very exciting stuff.
Yeah, the team building parts, it's a really important point. I'm glad that you brought that up, because when you're going through that process, whether you're looking to work with contractors, part-time people, full-time people, especially when you have a long-term mindset, one of the greatest assets, or probably the greatest asset of any business, is its people. It's a classic kind of saying, right? And it's very true that when you have good people around you, you're unstoppable. I mean, you can really realize great potential. You can make a massive impact. And we were just talking about this the other day, but you can have somebody who has great skills, but if they don't share the same values, it's unlikely that you're going to enjoy working with that person for the long term. Whereas if you have somebody who has mediocre skills, but they're coachable and the ability to develop, but they share the same values, the beliefs that you have, or at least some of them, you're going to be able to really build that person for the long term, as long as they are open to coaching and support and improving their skill set. But that's the kind of person that you want. And I think as you're going through the hiring process, whether it's, again, part-time, full-time, regardless of the kind of the structure of it, really knowing your values, again, you can start to take these values and put them into your job descriptions, right? Put them into your messaging in many different formats, which we'll talk more about maybe afterwards in terms of how we plan to use, or how we are already using our values that we've developed here. But those are just a few things that I think hopefully illustrate the importance of developing your values and why you want to spend some time on this process yourself, regardless of whether you're just getting started or you've developed a consulting firm with many people on your team. So let's go ahead, Sam.
Mike, just one thing to interrupt for a sec. Just want to make it clear, because a lot of our listeners might be thinking kind of like we thought years ago, values are only for big corporations. I know I heard McDonald's, this company has values, and that Walmart and whatever. But what I guess we're trying to impress upon you today is even if you're a solo consultant or a small team or a team of 10 or whatever, values can be very, very important, strategic, crucial, and just feel good to work on this. So it's really for you guys and it's not for just big corporations. All right. So I just wanted to really clarify that.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So let's set the stage here. As we said, we really began this journey several years ago where we made an intentional decision to start telling our story a lot more. Before that, it was at the back. It was certainly not at the forefront. We led with focusing just on talking about consulting and really much more of kind of the technical / professional kind of image. But what we really felt over time is that we needed to tell more of our story. We got some coaching and guidance around that, which was very beneficial. And as we went through that journey of first developing and defining our mission and what our company is about, then creating this little mini documentary, which was a really kind of fun and interesting project by itself, to then really just being a lot more open with some of our vulnerabilities and lessons learned and challenges, as well as our successes. It really seems to resonate with people. And so Sam and I went away a little while ago on a little mastermind retreat, the two of us. Sam, you want to maybe set up the stage, give some nice imagery, paint our kind of, brought into the room with us of what things were like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, whole global pandemic going on. We're looking to get away. Some travel restrictions were being eased. Mike and I, we try and do mastermind retreats every quarter if possible, really get away from the day-to-day. And that might be a whole other show we can do later. But yeah, we planned out this little getaway. We thought, let's get something cool. Let's get something nice. So we went up the coast here in British Columbia to a place called Sunshine Coast. It's only really sunny 3 months of the year, but the name is misleading, Sunshine Coast. My folks actually live there, so I always tease them and I say, yeah, it's not Sunshine Coast, it's Rain Coast or whatever. But anyway, so we rented a beautiful kind of cabin or house on the water there. We kind of treated ourselves. We got some good food to cook. Mike's a pretty good cook. I'm a decent cook as well. We had some good drinks, some good cooking, and we just spent the daytimes, hours and hours discussing our plans, our strategies, our values, which we're going to share in a minute, just really what's going on in the business. And I don't know, it was a great experience. We went on hikes each day after we finished our work and then cooked meals and just hung out. And we really got creative and we really got away from our day to day. And we produced so much great work, including these values. So a little bit about the setting and a little bit about why we got away. And it was a beautiful ocean view and hot tub and all these things you could imagine. So it was great.
I think the one key for that as well is that in order to start to develop our values and really give the attention this deserves, we changed our environment, right? So we did not just kind of meet at the office or sit down in our usual kind of work setting. We really changed things up. And often you do that, right? That's where creativity happens, is by changing your location. I know for me, in writing some of the first books, I wrote them at coffee shops. I couldn't write them at my desk. It was just, that wasn't conducive for me to be creative. So for some of you, you might find that actually changing your environment, going away, even for an hour or a half day or a full day, can really help you to start to think about things and see things in a way that is different because you're in a different environment, to really identify what is most important to you. So with that being said, what we did, we started off and we just said, okay, let's really think about what our values are. Like, what are our values? And we didn't really use any formal process. There's likely more formal processes around this. We're just going to share with you all here what we did. There may be better ways to do this, but we found this worked really well for us. And we got some guidance along the way. But for this first phase, it was just the two of us sitting down, having a conversation. And the way we thought about our values to begin with in this first round, and there's kind of 3 rounds that we went through, but the first round, we broke this down into 2 parts. One was, what do we think and what do we feel that our values are at the company level? That means both for Sam and I as owners, but also in terms of our team members. What do we feel are those values? And then secondary to that is, what do we feel that our values are for our clients? And the purpose of that distinction is, you'll see that there was a lot of overlap between the two, but we wanted to really start to think about, from the perspective of our ideal clients, what is important to them. And the reason why I think that's really critical is because the more that we can identify what's important to our ideal clients, the more that we can then see, again, how it relates to what's important to us. But we can also then start to use that information to look at our content creation or our workshops or our programs or whatever it might be, and think about, are we communicating around the topics that are important to our ideal clients? And likewise, we also asked ourselves, what are some of maybe the values that are really critical to our ideal clients, and what are the opposite? What are some things maybe that would be a turnoff to our ideal clients? Or if we think about some clients that we maybe have not enjoyed working with as much, what are some of the things that maybe they have beliefs around that are different than what our true ideal clients have? So with that being said, Sam, do you want to maybe start and kind of just list off, bullet point, what are some of those initial values that we identified at the company level?
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to read through the list I have open here. So this came from, once again, this was our first round initial brainstorm. Family, relationships, teamwork. That's one. Strategic, strong communication, growth mindset, profitable and lean, health, lifestyle, flexibility, giving clients amazing service, multicultural, gratitude, openness, transparency, honesty, and trust. So that was our initial kind of what Michael and I really felt strong about in ourselves, in our company, and our team on the internal side of things.
And so just to point out here, right, you can all kind of hear as Sam's reading those out, they're just bullet points, right? They're just like keywords. So we weren't going deeper, and you'll see how we actually took these keywords and developed them in round 2 and round 3 into something much more kind of powerful and compelling and more a true statement. But we just started off by thinking about what are the keywords that are important to us and that we feel that are important to our team. And so the next thing we wrote down is, what are the values that our clients have? So Sam, maybe go through and read what those are.
Yeah. And a lot of these will they'll seem even similar, and they can kind of go on either side. So just remember that our values aren't necessarily not our ideal. They're probably both, I would say. So you'll see there's some similarities, but international citizen mindset, multicultural, openness, action taker, entrepreneurial, freedom and flexibility, family and community, health and wealth conscious, and then invest in personal development and growth.
Yeah. So as Sam said, right, you can see that there's a lot of overlap between what we've identified that are the values for our clients and then what are the values that we have and that our team has. What we did at this point, we felt good about, first of all, getting these down on paper, right? It's very common to say, oh yeah, I know what our values are, or I know whatever it is that the topic is about, but not actually have it written down. There's something very powerful that happens when you write something down, put pen to paper, or in this case, type it up. I think actually we started by putting pen to paper.
We had a whiteboard with a Sharpie and everything. We brought it with us. So
right.
We're kind of nerds when it comes to that. We had fun there too, but we did bring a whiteboard and some Sharpies. So we definitely did that whole thing.
Yeah, it was good. So here's the next thing that we did. When we came back from that weekend away or that time away, we have a team meeting every Thursday, and we got the team together, and we actually just went through what these values were. The approach that we used was not to say, hey guys, here as the founders and owners of the business, here's the value. We did not do that. What we did is we said to the team, we told a bit of a story of how we went about developing this, what we thought, why we want to develop these values. And then we said, here's what we kind of initially identified, and we really want your feedback and your input on these. What was so interesting about that is that every team member said, smiling on the call, saying like, this is so great, saying things like, I'm so glad to be working for a company like this. Like, these are awesome. These are the kinds of comments that we got. And for me, it felt really good because, again, it shows there's an alignment between our team members and ourselves around our values. It also helped to kind of give us a little bit more confidence to say, okay, we're on the right track with these values. Now we can talk about kind of moving to the next step. But I don't have any other impression?
Before we move to kind of our next step, or our round 2, as we call it, of the values. Yeah, when we brought it up with the team, I agree with what Mike just said. They were smiling. They were saying, this is amazing. They seemed visibly excited about it. So that was the great thing about it. But the other thing was that we also asked them, did we miss anything that's a value to you guys, right? So we had asked them that question, and they added a couple. And I think we refined it a little bit, even this initial list, based on what our team had said, because I think it's important to just mention that it wasn't just us making it up and saying, this is what it is. You have to be like this. I think kind of without even really knowing, we hired to this already. So we didn't really have this all written out when we had hired those team members. Now for newer members, we have it more clear. But I think it was interesting because they really resonated, the team that was on that meeting. And it just showed that we already, I guess, had been communicating it through the video, through our actions, through what we did. And now when we put words to it, they just got even more excited. And like I said, they took part in it and even added a couple more. So
while we work with a lot of seasoned and experienced consultants here at Consulting Success, I'm often contacted by new early stage consultants. Invariably, the question I'm asked is, what are the steps I should take
to become a successful consultant and grow my consulting business to my first 6 figures per year? Well, I'm excited to announce that we've opened the doors for our Momentum program. This is our most popular program for early stage consultants, and it has helped almost 1,000 consultants to start, run, and grow successful consulting businesses. It gives you the step-by-step plan to help you with your messaging, your fees, and pricing strategies, how to win more proposals, how to go to market more effectively, developing a marketing system to generate leads consistently, and so much more. And right now, until September the 19th, you can sign up for Momentum and get 50% off the regular price by going to consultingsuccess.com/audio. That's consultingsuccess.com/audio, AUDIO. Only 100 spots are available to join Momentum and get 50% off. This deal is only available until September the 19th or until all 100 spots are gone. We won't be opening up new spots in this program for several months, so don't wait. Go to consultingsuccess.com/audio. That's consultingsuccess.com/audio, AUDIO. So next step that we then took is we share this every week with our clients in our Clarity Coaching Program. We do a group call every week in addition to all of the one-to-one calls that our clients have, coaches and so forth. And in that call, what we often do every week is we share best practices. We share things that we're doing in our own business that are working really well that we think clients can also benefit from. Certain clients will share their experiences and do presentations. So it's really like a mini workshop around a topic. And then we open up that call for Q&A to give people a lot of feedback and get into different breakout rooms. So there's lots of opportunity for people to have all their questions answered. But what we did for one of these sessions is we shared our values, right? We shared this process that we were going through with all of our clients on the call. And we said very clearly, this is just in draft form, but here's what we're doing. Here's why we're doing it. So similar to what we're doing and sharing with you all right now in the podcast, we also did this with our clients and kind of went through this list. It was by no means polished. It was just the keywords. But again, it gave us further validation and confirmation because the feedback that we got from clients was fantastic. Again, very on point. It resonated with so many of them. And there was a lot of discussion around that afterwards. Once we had that confirmation, then we now decide, okay, let's move to our more formal second round where we took these keywords, because as you likely heard when Sam read them out, like there's a lot of different keywords. And if you have any experience with values and being able to really use those values, they have to be memorable. They have to be fewer, right? You can't really run effectively or use 10 or 15 values effectively because it's just too hard for people to remember. So you want to usually narrow that down. So we started to look at all the different values that we had and thought about how can we consolidate these? How can we take the company values, the client values, prioritize, identify the most important ones, and then really start to consolidate them into a smaller number of values. So our second round, Sam, do you want to maybe read out kind of what we narrowed down for round 2?
Yeah, so this is round 2. We took, I guess, that list of 20-something values between the client side and the internal side, and we came up with 4 kind of points here. So number 1, always do what's right. Treating all like family, long-term mindset. That was number 1. Number 2 was always look for improvements. Growth strategy mindset. That was number 2. Number 3 is always take care of body and mind. Health, fitness, lifestyle, study. That's number 3. And then number 4, last but not least, always open to the world. Travel, diversity, multicultural.
Awesome. So this was, a big kind of step in the right direction from taking so many different keywords and consolidating them, combining them into 4 main themes. And then we put some keywords below each of those themes to add a little bit more context and a little bit more kind of color to it as well. But these by themselves didn't really speak to us the way that we want. They weren't necessarily as memorable. They're probably a little bit too kind of corporate or dry. And so the next stage was actually Sam going through these and then starting to bring more life to them and give them a little bit more character and make them more memorable. So this was kind of our third and final round for this initial stage of developing our values. And so, yeah, why don't you go ahead, Sam, and just kind of read through what those 4 values are that we really ended up with.
What we did is we came up with kind of a keyword. I'll just explain first. A strong keyword that would represent a category. And then we went in and kind of described that category and what it meant to us, our clients, our community from all of these previous steps we've been talking about today. So here's the most current and kind of final round, and it can always update later. We always talk about imperfect action here. And we're willing to update it as time goes on. But for now, this is what we're happy with. And we've gotten great feedback from people as well. And we'd love to hear your feedback. The values we live and breathe by. La familia. Family is life, and it's at the heart of our company. The founders are cousins, and we treat our team, clients, and whole entire community like one big family with respect, care, trust, openness, and honesty. So that's number one. La familia, obviously, that is for all you Spanish speaking folks and people who don't speak Spanish, you know what la familia means. It's family. So number two, entrepreneurial. Growth and improvement makes life and business fun and challenging, always growing, taking action, surrounding ourselves with smart, ambitious, and inspiring people, and reaching new levels of personal and business success is what we're all about. So that's number two, entrepreneurial. Number three, health is wealth. We prioritize health. Mental health, daily physical exercise, and having a flexible schedule that allows us to recharge and create amazing life experiences inside and outside of work are key to how we operate and run our businesses. So that's number three, health is wealth. And then last but not least, and this is with an exclamation mark, we worldwide. The people, the languages, the cultures, the food, and the geography make this place we call Earth a truly spectacular and unique gift to us all. We celebrate this through travel, deep exploration, and by happily working with people of all backgrounds, religions, and ethnicities. And that's number four, we worldwide. So there you have it. Really excited about these. Yeah, Mike, take it away from there.
Yeah, no, I think great job of kind of summing it up. So when Sam initially developed that and then sent it over, I reviewed it. There was just a few little things that we kind of discussed and then kind of got to this final polished version. But even just now, Sam, as you read it internally, like I feel really good in hearing that. It resonates, like it's that kind of like warm, glowing feeling. It feels something very confident that we can stand behind, that we can be proud of, that we'd want to protect. And again, this comes back to the power of values, that when you have something that you believe in, you want to share it. So we're now very excited to take these values and share them with the world, share them with the community, share them with our clients, share them with our team, because they resonate with us. And we know that by just through our own experiences, that by putting this out in front of more people, more of the right people will come into our world, because we all want to do great work with great people. And I think that's the power of having these values. So now that we have them, right, how are we using them? Well, and what is our plan for them? Well, number one, we're using them right now on the podcast with you all, right? We're sharing them with you. Why? Again, because it's important for us that you here as part of the community, a really valued part of the consulting success community. I know some of you are clients. We have a lot of clients who are listeners to the podcast. Some of you may be new to the consulting success kind of community and world, and we're really glad to have you here. But we want to share what's important with us with you, because we know that if that resonates with you, right, it'll also make you kind of feel good and excited. So that's one thing where we've started to actively use it in our content. So podcasts, it's going to go up on our story page.
It's already there, actually.
Okay, fantastic. So good job, Sam.
You guys actually I was just sorry to interrupt, but I was going to say that I know I read them a few minutes ago and it's hard to remember that kind of thing. But if you want a visual representation, we designed it nicely. It's on our story page. You can clearly read our values. So consultingsuccess.com, click on our story, as Michael mentioned earlier, and you can find our values there, the ones our final ones that we just read a few minutes ago.
Yeah, awesome. I'm really glad that you mentioned that, because even though they were up, right? Love it. Great team. So we're now incorporating in our website. And again, that's the natural thing. Like when somebody's interested in working with you, they're going to go to your about page. And so if you've developed these values, right, you've developed your values, you want to put them on your website so that your ideal clients can read them. They can see them. Maybe they can hear them, right? In videos, in podcasts, whatever it might be. Again, because your ideal clients, it's going to attract the right people and it's going to repel the wrong people. So this becomes almost a bit of a qualifying mechanism for you. That's really powerful, right? That's what effective marketing is it will push away the wrong people, but really attract more of the right people. So that's what you want to do. So we put it on our website. It's in the podcast. Also, we're starting to include this in our hiring. So in our job descriptions, we actively now bring our values into the job descriptions for the exact same reason. We want the right candidates, the right people to be attracted to this. And we want people who look at this and go like, oh yeah, no, I don't value health, or I don't value being entrepreneurial, or I don't value family. And like that would push them away. And that's fine, because we want people who value family. They value loved ones. They value relationships. They value the idea of being action takers and being entrepreneurial and developing their physical health and their mental health and all that kind of stuff. And, they're open and worldwide. And so by putting these out, again, we're going to attract more of the right people, repel more of the wrong people. Sam, anything else that in terms of how we're planning to use it, or just any thoughts before we wrap up?
Yeah, no, I'm just really excited to be here. Would love to come on more podcasts and just share things that we're doing internally. And it's exciting for Mike and I to be able to do this together as cousins. And yeah, I mean, in values, definitely experiment with trying to do a few of your own within your business, within your brand, maybe personally, whatever works for you, kind of based on the formula we broke down today. I would say it was easier than I initially thought. That's one takeaway for me. And it was also way more fun than I thought. And then the last thing I would say is, as a founder here, I don't know, it's given me a new sense of energy and excitement, even inside the company, like even more so than before, because I think we're all clear, our team, and especially as co-founders, we're so clear on our principles, our values, and it's clearly out there. I don't know. Yeah, it's an exciting time. And we're obviously very proud to have these out there. And that's why we wanted to share it with you. And hopefully this session today could give you some tips on how you, or even inspire you to create your own values, right? And also just get to know us better as well, since you are listeners to this podcast and part of our community that we really value.
Yeah, definitely. And I also want to give a quick shout out to great client and friend, Bobby G, because he gave some wise words around the development of values as we share them with our clients in that session that I mentioned earlier. So that feedback certainly helped, and we incorporated that as we went through this process. So there you have it, everyone. I hope, again, this has been helpful, inspiring for you, that you're going to further develop your values or begin developing your values and work this into your business. It's something that, again, we clearly believe in. That's why we're recording this here for you today. And again, as Sam mentioned, if you want to see the actual values and read through them, go to consultingsuccess.com and then just click on our story, or you can always shoot us a message. Like, let us know. We always love hearing from you guys. Let us know if you enjoyed this podcast. Let us know if you'd like more podcasts with the cousins on it and what topics you'd like us to cover. We always do our best to bring on great guests and experts and other successful consultants to share their journeys and stories with you. But ultimately, what drives us to do what we do is you. And that's why we really value you being in the community here and being a listener and sharing this with others. And if you haven't yet, please go ahead, head over to iTunes, give a quick rating and review. It does mean a lot to us. But reach out and let us know where you're at, what stage you're at in your consulting journey, and how we can support you, whether you're just getting started or you're already running a successful consulting business, but you want to take it to that next level. We've worked with a lot of consultants, and that's really, again, our focus in everything that we do here. So thank you again, everyone, so much. Sam, great to have you on.
Yep, it was awesome to be here. See you guys later.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Consulting Success Podcast. For more episodes and to subscribe, rate, and leave a review, head on over to iTunes. And if you'd like to develop consistent lead flow and a highly profitable consulting business, learn more about our coaching programs at consultingsuccess.com.